The year is 2002, and for better or for worse, I was not alive, in the void, or just really, really tiny, resulting in me missing out on some of these beautiful games. But now that I'm a big boy and I have a fully developed frontal cortex to find out where is what, I thought maybe I should see where these whats go right and where they go wrong.
Does that make sense?
So come with me on a retrospective journey, trying out a handful of games I missed because I was a tiny little baby. The date is December 13th, 2002. It's a beautiful morning in Kyoto, Japan. You remember, oh my god, Wind Waker's out. Thank God, it's Friday. You quickly head to school. The whole day you just think about Wind Waker. School finishes, you sprint home, bust down the door and say, Wind Waker, here I come. You plop down on the floor, but you forgot it. You don't have a GameCube. You don't even own Wind Waker. And you're miles away from a store that sells any of those things. And your parents can't afford anything. And your roof caved. Now maybe these are just some of the very accurate memories that you had on launch day, but mine were peaceful. December 13th, 2002 was the official date this game hit the shelves. Don't worry about the North American release. We're talking about the Japan release. I was about 3 months old, probably couldn't move, and definitely could not play this game. But now I can, and what I can say about it is it's
sailing, sword fights, this disgusting pig guy.
This game so far is great. I've never really played other Zelda games other than some Breath of the Wild, so it's an all-around new experience for me. But I gotta say, it's got that cool personality that Nintendo games always seem to have. Puzzles, weird quirky characters, mini games, exploration, music that I can't play because Nintendo will eat my whole body and would probably do other weird shit to me. Now, despite all this positivity, I have to say, one thing about the experience that is not very good is the controls. They're dog shit. They're the worst thing about it, and they just feel really old and janky. To be fair, I played this with an Xbox controller, so it's definitely not the intended way to play, but despite that, it just feels very clunky. This can really get in the way of enjoyment and swap it out for tedium galore. Like trying to aim at these poles and shoot them with your rope can make you feel insane. For example, during this boss fight, you kind of need to swing at the boss to defeat him, and you need to aim your rope at this tail. And trying to aim the rope can feel like you're using your feet to control the joysticks. I mean, could you imagine doing this? Like, could you imagine that? Just freaking trying to move. Hey, I might be a really bad gamer, which I probably am a little bit, but I think this is why the Wii U edition is much more accessible for people like me. I have a hard time. Regardless of the bad controls and janky feeling, this game is an 8.5 out of 10 and would be a 10 out of 10 if it just had some better controls. The vibes are immaculate, as always, with these Nintendo games, and they're just pure escapism and joy. Like, really, I just want to live sometimes in these worlds instead. Now this bright colored, quirky fun has me wanting something just a little bit more gritty, a little more dark. So we turn to June 24th, 2002. Where this guy named Dennis Dyack and some other guys are cooking up something unique, something interesting, and something that vaguely felt like a Canadian Resident Evil. Eternal Darkness, Sanity Requiem. Now, I've never heard or seen anything about this game, so I really had no idea going in what to expect. It starts off with your grandpa being dead and you just being a girl.
I'm just a girl.
But it's your job to solve the case.
There's no head. None of this makes sense.
So we do what any basic rational person would do in this scenario. We search the mansion your grandpa got turned into jam at, and we find some freaky deaky shit. Of course, I mean, what else would be there? This game has similar vibes to Resident Evil, but differs on many levels. One, you think you're just going to be staying in this mansion, going back and forth like most Resident Evil games, but you're really just looking for chapters of Grandpapa's book.
My little girl.
That teleport you back to other people that touched this cursed book. Got their grubby little hands all over it. Started kissing it. 2, you got some weird magic powers that every time you use them, it makes a weird alien noise like, which is pretty cool, and you can dance to it, you know? And 3, you can save anytime you want, and there's no typewriter, and there's no zombies really, and you don't have an inventory management. Okay, honestly, this game is not very similar to Resident Evil, but when you start it up, you can tell the developers were checking it out. They were looking at Resident Evil, they were checking it out. Now, how does this game feel to play? Well, it feels pretty janky like all 2002 games, but it has such an interesting and unique story that it honestly captivated me quite well. You control sort of a top-down fixed camera, though it's much more dynamic than Resident Evil's camera. It plays mostly as an action linear puzzle game. You're going throughout history acquiring differing magic abilities that carry over to Alex, the granddaughter, prepping you for the grand finale, as well as advancing your knowledge of the story. So while Alex is learning, your experience is playing out all of these traumatic events that previous holders of the book went through with this evil guy. He should brush his teeth. There's this one cool feature that I think is super neat, and that's the sanity bar. Every time one of these mummy guys spawn, your sanity gets a little bit drained, and if it gets too low, you start experiencing metabugs. For example, bugging through the floor, and you think, what's going on with my game? What's going on? And then Flash is fake. Or there's this one where it makes you think that it's the end of the game and they want you to buy another game that's going to come out called Eternal Darkness Redemption. It's super cool and I love the fourth wall breaking. Later it starts to feel a little bit more pointless in a monotonous game of just keeping it up, because you get a spell that you can just regen it at any time. Overall, my experience was quite mixed though, because some parts just felt really bland. Just running around getting an item to then run back and use said item to get to the end of the chapters before jumping right into the next one. Oftentimes it was getting quite repetitive. What would I score this if I had to out of 10? I'd probably score a nice 7.5 out of 10. Some of the repetitiveness can detract from the overall experience, but the story's interesting and some of the mechanics you probably just haven't seen before if you've never played this game. Space, cool armor, and aliens. What do you think of when I say these things? Well, you probably think of Halo, but that came out in 2001, so it's Metroid Prime, a first-person action shooter kind of reminiscent of a Doom type shooter. I had no real desire to check this out in my life, but when I saw it on the 2002 hits, I just had to see what it was all about. You start off as this girl named Samus, I think, on a spaceship, and you go through shooting up the place, fighting a big old bug at the end, then blowing it up with the big old bug's carcass. This is kind of a tutorial section for the game. So through this endeavor, you find out about your cool scanning ability and ball ability. After the ship explodes, you track this dragon thingy down to this beautiful blocky planet. You've seemed to lost all your cool abilities and your so special ball ability. But feel no fear, they're somewhere around here. You just gotta find them. So it opens up into these labyrinth type tunnels where you're just looking for your abilities so you can keep progressing to new levels and fight more bugs. This game has some cool level design, like how you must circle back to places you've already been with your newfound abilities, opening up new passageways and new ways to explore. With shooting, you can just lock onto nearby enemies and spam shoot them till they're dead and gone, which reminds me a bit of those arcade shooters in a weird way. I'll be honest with you, I did not super love this game, but I'm just not a big fan of these action-based level type shooters. I don't know why, I just haven't had a huge boner for them. So for this game, I won't just give it a basic rating because I honestly didn't play enough. But I can tell you, if this was my jam, I could see how it would be the top of its category. It's got puzzles, cool little abilities, like the ball ability, interesting bosses, and most importantly, bugs. I love bugs. It's my passion. Ooh, what's this? What's this little thing? What's this? I think it's
Resident Evil.
This was Capcom's first remake of what Capcom really became later known for, their beautiful remakes. Resident Evil came out in 1998, and this was their beautiful 2002 redone version. This game was genre defining for its time. It had horror, it had puzzles, hard edition, it had your mom. It was really a special combo of combos. Now, I've never really played these older versions of Resident Evil. I've only played the remakes, 7, and Village. So I'm used to fluid controls with high-def graphics and rednecks serving me some dinner.
Come here, boy.
Delicious. That looks good, man. What was a change of pace for me was the fixed camera angles and tank controls. You cannot move the camera at all, and this plays into the game mechanics, but a part of me hates this. Not being able to turn your camera can get really disorientating if you're used to having full control over your camera or first-person games. This was different, along with the tank controls, which is basically where your character will always move forward if you press forward and back if you press back. This game layout causes you to run into walls like you're in a pinball machine, just bouncing all over the place. Since this is the first Resident Evil, we're getting introduced to some famous cast of characters like Jill and Chris, who's missing,
Chris?
and
No.
Wesker,
You don't
that
wanna
evil
go back out
guy.
there.
I think he's evil. And Barry.
Not Chris's.
You know Barry.
It's really
Everyone knows
powerful.
Barry. The team is sent in to investigate murders. But if you know anything about Resident Evil games, you know there's some foul play afoot. And maybe some feet in your lunch. When it comes to how this game feels, it feels great and still holds up for today's standards. It basically consists of that classic Resident Evil gameplay you know and love. But man, did I run back and forth a couple of times in this mansion. Just a couple. At the start, it's really hard to tell what you can interact with. The interactables and the background kind of blur together. Now it sticks out like a sore thumb, but it takes some time to get used to it. In the beginning, I kept getting items and being like, what do I do with this? Then running to one end of the mansion, then running back. If you don't know where to go, it's a lot of trial and error. Or maybe I'm just a smooth brain, but that's what I really like about this game. There's no hand holding. So if you figure something out, it can feel really rewarding. This game all around has great puzzles, an interesting story, and unique gameplay that still holds up for today's standards. Out of all the games I played, this was the one I completed start to finish. A solid 9.5 out of 10. All these games are super cool and all, but they all feel so claustrophobic. Like small, and I can't breathe right. I need some fresh air. Some driving.
Vice City.
Released during the spooky month of 2002, which doesn't really make much sense because this is totally a summer game. Vice City sold like hotcakes, selling 1.4 million copies within 2 days, which is insane back then. You play as Tommy Vercetti, voiced by Ray Liotta, which you might know him from Mob of the Dead. But you might know him a little bit better from a small little indie movie called Goodfellas. This game was laying the foundation of what Grand Theft Auto games became. Wacky characters, fun driving, cool ass music, and funny NPCs.
I can't believe what's going on. Shit.
Honestly, some of the stuff in this game is too funny because of the age. Like I remember this one scene where I was talking to this biker guy in the bar, and just in the background, this guy's head was just in the floor.
Hi.
Where'd you come from? It's sort of an up-and-coming story like most Grand Thefts. You start off doing some dirty jobs before quickly killing this crazy annoying guy named Ricardo Diaz and taking his Scarface mansion, and you start running shit. This game feels much more video gamey and arcadey on so many levels. Dialogue runs about 30 seconds to a minute before jumping straight into a mission. Missions are short and sweet, and you can go from having a million cops on your ass, but step through this magic pink circle and... oh, they forgot it. You can see that Rockstar has some of the same game design. It's just much more fleshed out and movie-like nowadays. It makes me curious about how missions in GTA will be, whether they'll stick to the same formula or switch it up a bit. Vice City is such a vibe, and even with these dated graphics, you can see why Miami is such a great place to have a GTA game. You just feel so good while playing it. It makes me so hyped for GTA 6 and all the cool shit that's gonna be in that game. Shit, man. Out of the rest of the games, this one, along with Resident Evil, were the ones that captured my attention the best. I give Vice City a 9.5 out of 10. Just what you'd expect out of a GTA game, just much simpler because of the limitations of the time. This list is missing a little bit of sneaky stealth games. So I want to try a big sneaky game from 2002 called Splinter Cell. These games seem like they died off. The last Splinter Cell was Splinter Cell Blacklist, and that came out in 2013. There hasn't been one since. I guess Ubisoft is too busy making ass and greeds. In this, you play as Sam Fisher, and your goal? Do whatever this government guy tells you to do.
The mission's over.
Use your elite skills to complete missions. And boy, am I elite at this game. It's a very linear stealth game involving a ghost rating, which tells you how well you do. And as you can see here, I'm doing pretty good. Just don't mind the negative sign. Just get rid of that part there. Doing pretty good. It has unique little mechanics like a dynamic light system for your overall visibility and measuring how much sound you make. Your goal is to stay in the shadows, shoot out the lights, and switch off light switches to keep places dark so you can waddle your way through. From a game from 2002, it has some pretty advanced movement mechanics, like being able to grab and hug poles, or shimmy your way through little hallways, or doing the splits in the hall so you can prey on people. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Along with having that whole dynamic light system and sound system. When it comes to gameplay, it's fairly straightforward. Just try not to get caught, which I was super good at. I was pretty bad at this game. Partly, I feel like stealth games just don't do well with old NPC tech. Like sometimes I'd be pretty hidden and a guy would suddenly go,
Hello? Who's there?
and then sometimes a guy would be staring right at me and he just, I don't know if he's like blind or something. It feels fairly inconsistent with how they act. You can tell it's just limitations of 2002, like most of these games. But when it comes to stealth, I feel like the better the overall NPCs, the better the overall experience. Another thing I did not really enjoy about this game is how dang linear it is. I've never been a big fan of having zero options to how I approach stealth. Partly why I like Hitman games is because the recent ones have so much variability and dynamic events. It can really switch up the gameplay and make it feel alive. It's just hard to go back to the rudimentary version of stealth when you've experienced what newer games have to offer. Though I could see this game being super cool when it came out, I just feel like it doesn't hold up today for me. It felt really hard to get into, and I just kept thinking, wouldn't this be cool if it was Hitman instead? I mean, I really like that game. I kind of want to play Hitman. I give this game a 6.5 out of 10, with linear missions and the limited NPC reactions holding it back. Okay, now were these the best games of all time? No. Was the title of this video a little bit clickbaity? Yeah. But did I miss some cool games because I was too busy shitting my pants or hanging out in a cool cave? Yeah, I did. And this was just a glimpse of what came out that year. I know what you're probably thinking. Where's Morrowind? Well, I think Morrowind's a little bit too big of a game for me to do in this video, and it already took me an eternity to try out these 6 games. So I'm gonna save that for something else. Maybe like playing old Elder Scrolls or something, like take me 5 years. What playing these older games made me realize was that I take a lot of modern features for granted. And I just love how nowadays we can use the fluidity of modern controls and tools, but with the retro feel of old graphics. Not everything has to be hyper realistic. And when I was driving around Vice City, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if there's a game like this, but it just improves aspects of fluidity, car physics, gameplay objectives, and shooting. I feel like it would be so interesting to have a stylized GTA, but with more in-depth mechanics. Anyways, my brain needs a break from all this old janky stuff. If you like this, then subscribe, link in the description for my spicy content, like the video, share it, re-record it, and thank you Squarespace. Of course, thank you Squarespace.